My name's Aaron. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. And today I'm reviewing from the house of Yves Saint Laurent M7 Oud Absolu. This is £79. I'm kind of a bit gobsmacked by that, to be honest, because I expect Oud's fragrances to be a lot higher in price. So take from that what you will, in my opinion, of course. M7 is the man's fragrance that represents the climax of, I'm not reading anymore. If it's talking about climax, whatever. So the notes are mandarin, oud wood, patchouli, cistus, and myrrh. Ooh, I love myrrh. Do we have our bottles of M7 Oud Absolu by Yves Saint Laurent? Are we engaged with our high self? Let's get testing. Ooh, horrible plastic top. Ooh, how horrible. I should start deducting marks for that. Let's look at the atomizer. Kind of standard, nothing particularly special. Oh, I hate plastic tops. Just sort of, to me, it kind of devalues work. You know, it costs more for metal. I look at that and I think cheap for most, even if the fragrance not kind of puts me off a little bit. Anyway, right, let's buy the fragrance and get on with the review. So what am I expecting from this fragrance? I'm expecting this to smell like Yves Saint Laurent Oud Safe. That's really what I'm expecting. So I'm expecting to smell of classic French perfumery. I'm expecting to have lift, volume, softness, unisex with a few naturals. I'm not expecting this to be particularly groundbreaking. Expecting this to be wearable and forgettable, to be honest with you, because £79 to me. I know, is that funny, the price? £79. I have an idea of what to expect for £79. Funnily enough, if this was £179 that had a metal cap, isn't that interesting? That kind of, the plastic cap and the prices made me think completely differently about it. Isn't that interesting? Psychology of the finish on the bottles and the money involved. Based upon Hedione Isu Super. Ethyl vanillin. Ethyl vanillin is used massively within Yves Saint Laurent. There's another way to sweeten a fragrance without using ethyl maltol. Patchouli giving the darkness, lineal compounds, elastate. It's a little bit boring, and though it's safe, if I'm going to be really honest with you, it's kind of very boring, very safe, very middle of the road. Not really giving me Oud Absolu. Oud Absolu, I think, is a lovely name, and I would expect something very Middle Eastern. You know, that's when you can kind of let go a little bit and be a little bit more daring. And I kind of feel a little bit unimpressed, underwhelmed, to be honest with you. Myrrh is a lovely raw material. I have some at work, which I'm using at the moment, obviously used in incense. It is thick, treacle-like. This is a very thick viscosity. And it can be used as a fixative because the viscosity of it being very thick, it helps as a fixative. And a fixative is a raw material that fixes raw materials to the skin and allows for slower evaporation. So fixes the volatile top notes to the skin. It's kind of like spicy, balsamic. It's kind of what it is, actually. Very unappealing to smell. I don't like it actually to smell, but within formulas, it's really lovely. And so with all these spices and vanillin and all that, it's really just, it's magical. On its own, I find it a little bit unappealing, to be honest with you. And that is the beauty of perfumery, you see. But you can assimilate sort of like an oudi aspect with cinnamon notes, benzoate, eugenol, and sort of beta iron. And you can create a sort of myrrh accord if you do your research and go in that direction. And these naturals are very expensive. So myrrh is really expensive. So take for that what you will, actually. So this, on a plus side, has been handled really well. I would expect nothing less from YSL, actually. I think this is giving smoothness, lift. It smells very pleasant, but it's not giving me the name. And I think the name is really key to a fragrance. When using all these sort of like naturals, it's important to fit the brief. And I think I'm sort of feeling it's not really fitting the brief. On to my final thoughts. I think it's very pleasant. On the plus side, I love the spiciness of the nutmeg with the vanillin compounds, the patchouli, the choice of naturals. I think that's gorgeous. And I think I would expect nothing less. And maybe I'm feeling a little bit of a certain way because it's YSL and it's Oud Absolu. And I like the name and I love the concept. You know, you got myrrh and you got these things, and I would have thought, you know, they really could have taken it there with sort of like a royal oud aspect. And because I love oud and I love all these raw materials, it feels a little bit disappointing. Nice and vibrant, lots of lift, clean core to it. It's got sort of like a slight oudy quality to it, a slight animalistic nature to it, a slight herbaceous nature to it, but it's very slightly. And I think this fragrance is suitable for kind of everyone, to be honest with you. But it's right down the middle, you see. And I think with these big houses, they kind of have to go right down the middle and make it like, oh, that's the nude fragrance. But I don't know whether I would think it was particularly Oud Absolu by smelling it. The price, I think the price is really great for what it is. I hate the plastic cap. I really need to move away from plastic, to be honest with you. These companies can afford, metal caps or something else, The perfume has done an amazing job. I think it feels finished, complete. I love the sort of juxtaposition of sweetness from the ethyl vanillin combined with sort of like the slightly smoky, herbaceous nature to the fragrances. It's really been well constructed. I love the choice of musks in it. It's got a great choice of musk in it, some smoothing musk, some musk to lift it, some musk to give it a like metallic nature. I think it's really nice, but it's a little bit boring and a little bit safe. And I think if you are looking for a fragrance which is oud adjacent, oud-like, but you don't really like full throttle ouds, then I think this is really great actually. And I think it's very inoffensive. I think it's completely unisex. Definitely colder season fragrance. Definitely going out to the date, definitely going out for that sort of thing. But it's lacking sensuality to me. It's lacking sensuality. It's lacking... Oud has such a sensual nature to it, you see. Oud has such a thing about it, and kind of I don't associate it with being safe. I associate it with a tricky raw material to work with, but it's such a nice raw material to work with. It kind of has such a animalistic, sensual nature to it. That's kind of what's missing from this fragrance, is that. The price is amazing though. The price is amazing. Hate the plastic cap, all the rest of it. I'm going to mark it a 7 out of 10. I think it's very underwhelming, and I think it's so much more can be done with Oud Absolu. I love the name of it, all the rest of it, but it's kind of very underwhelming, if that makes sense. But the price is outstanding. I think if you're looking for a nude fragrance, which is very easy to wear, non-offensive, very safe, very nice, then this is for you. But if you're an oud connoisseur, if you love oud, if you love sort of a bit more of an animalistic nature to fragrances, more sensuality, then I don't think this is for you. And I think that's fine, because I think those two types of fragrance can't really meet, you see. So, hope you love that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for fascinating, interesting content, lots of moving hands, and lots of fragrance views. Hope you're staying safe and well. See you soon.